All right, to Japan now, where the controversial release of treated radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan has just begun. The dumping in the Pacific Ocean comes 12 years after the earthquake and tsunami which destroyed nuclear reactors there. The Japanese government and the UN's nuclear watchdog says it's safe to release more than 1 million tons of cooling water. But Japanese fishermen, as well as China and some Pacific Island nations, all disagree. Well, Hanako Montgomery is live for us in Fukushima. And Hanako, talk to us a little bit about what locals are saying about all of this. There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of buildup, and now it's actually happening. What is the reaction?
Right. So as you mentioned, the Japanese government says that this release is safe and necessary in order to decommission the plant. It's also gotten the go-ahead by the IAEA, the UN nuclear watchdog. But some locals are condemning the Japanese government's plan. You might be able to see behind me, there is a protest going on at the moment where locals have gathered to state why they disagree with Japan's plan. We also spoke to a few of them earlier today when they were staging a protest outside the Daiichi nuclear power plant. They cited how in 2015, the Japanese government agreed that it would not release treated radioactive wastewater into the ocean without first getting their approval. But as we're seeing today, Japan has still gone ahead with the discharge.
Right. And give us a sense of how this is going to happen in terms of the process. How is this water actually being released? Is it happening slowly? Is it going to be sort of expelled all at once? How is this being done?
Yes, so we're talking about 1.33 million tons of water, and it's going to be discharged over the course of 30 to 40 years. So it's a relatively slow discharge. TEPCO, the plant operator, said that it will begin releasing it initially at first in smaller portions and testing it more frequently. So in order to discharge the water, TEPCO will be diluting it with seawater first to ensure that it meets 1/40th of Japan's concentration in terms of safety levels. The water is then pumped into an undersea tunnel 1 kilometer off the shore, which is connected to the Pacific Ocean. Now, Japan looks to release around 312,000 tons of wastewater, which is roughly equivalent to 30 tanks. Now, in this first discharge, which is expected to take over the course of 17 days, about 7,800 metric tons will be released. And according to test results announced earlier on Thursday, this first discharge contained around 63 becquerels of tritium, a radioactive isotope, per liter. Now, that's below the World Health Organization's standard for drinking water levels, which is around 10,000 becquerels per liter.
All right, Hanako Montgomery reporting live there for us on that very controversial release of that wastewater. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about this with somebody who really knows the details because he's read the IAEA report. That's the nuclear watchdog agency that sort of looks over all of this. His name is Chung. He is a professor at the Institute of Nuclear Engineering and Systems Science, and he joins us live now from Taiwan. Talk to us a little bit about this report you've read. What we understand is that the isotopes have been cleared from the water. There is an assurance of safety, but how do you know that that really is the case?
Okay, so what we have now are reports from TEPCO of Japan and IAEA. And according to the data released by IAEA, we saw that the majority of the radioactive isotopes have been filtered out. Okay, and
the majority, but not all.
Treated water has only very low level of radioactive isotopes, and tritium is the only one that cannot be filtered. And so that's why the Japanese are diluting the treated water and then release the water into the ocean. According to the data, and it should be all right because all the other radioactive isotopes are now in a very, very low level. And once again, by further dissolution by the ocean water, should be no particular harm to the environment and to the health of the general public. But my opinion is
Do you
go
think,
ahead.
sorry, I just want to jump in there. Do you think that diluted water that still contains isotopes is going to be enough to reassure the public that the fish is safe, that the water is safe, if it still has what the public views as being contaminated?
Yes, yeah, because the levels of other radioactive isotopes are so low, okay? And so it should pose no harm to the general public. But the problem is people, especially our people in Taiwan, they are all concerned if the released water, the released treated water really contain just the tritium, okay? So my suggestion is the Japanese government should invite more countries to participate monitoring the water at the discharge point in the ocean for the treated water. So, for example, Taiwan was not invited to the IAEA team for analyzing the treated water. But at this point, because the water is now being discharged, so I think more countries should be invited to the discharge point to collect the seawater sample by themselves. And so they can do their own analysis to make sure that the treated water released into the ocean are really okay or not. Okay, so for now, according to the report, I'm all right with the treated water. But the real concern should be if this is also true for the released water in the ocean at the discharge point.
Very quickly, let me jump in. One last question, because we're almost out of time. Given the fact this is a slow release that's going to happen over decades, is there the fear that the accumulation of water with low levels of isotopes could allow for the buildup of isotopes, making the water ultimately dangerous?
No, that's not the case for tritium. If there is only tritium, tritium has although has a very long physical half-life of 12.3 years, but the biological half-life of tritium in human body is only 2 weeks. Okay, so it would not pose any accumulation effect in a human body.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Chung, Guang, we appreciate you joining us from Taiwan with your expertise.
You're welcome.
Thank you.